It's Tuesday, November the 12th, 2013. I'll call to order the committee of the whole meeting. It's approximately 5:40. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Councilwoman Wallman,
Here.
Councilman Burgess,
Here.
Councilman Maldonado,
Here.
Councilman Williams,
Here.
Councilwoman Fairclough,
Here.
Vice Mayor Shelley,
Here.
Mayor Porter.
Here. Mr. Manager, any additions, deletions, deferrals?
No, sir.
So what's the request here? So we go right into the staff report on car 1010, waiver of fees for William F. Dickinson Community Center.
Mayor,
Yes.
sorry. I just wanted to tell you, Dennis and I talked today, and the lady who approached me with this, with the Rodeo Association, her grandfather passed away, so they were out of town. But the letter should really have been written from the Rodeo Association rather than a personal, because it's a Rodeo Association request as a nonprofit that we've been doing. We've had a relationship for all those many years. So I just want to let you know it does come from the Rodeo Association. Thank you, and I didn't mean to interrupt you, Manager.
No,
Not at
you
all.
didn't.
Thank you, Mayor.
Mr. Manager.
Mayor, Ms. Ruta Andrus is requesting that Mayor and Council authorize the City Manager to approve waiver of usage fees in the amount of $1,000 for the use of William F. Dickinson Community Center Banquet Hall and Kitchen on January 25th, 2014, 3 to 11 p.m. for the Rodeo Association coronation of Miss Teen Rodeo, Florida. This time includes preparations and cleanup according to the city's code, chapter 20-11. Fees and charges. City Council sets fees and has the right to waive parks and recreation fees by a majority vote. Direction on that.
Is there any discussion from the floor? Any discussion from council? Anyone here to present anything? Judy? No? There's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion from council? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Maldonado,
Yes.
Councilman Williams,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fairclough,
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallman,
Yes.
Councilman Burgess,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Shelley,
Yes.
Mayor Porter.
Yes.
The motion carries.
Item B is car 976, waiver of fees for use of Harrisfield Pavilion. Manager?
Mayor, the New Thing Fellowship is requesting Council authorize the City Manager approve waiver of usage fees in the amount of $500 for the use of Harrisfield Pavilion on December 21st to conduct a holiday activity for the benefit of underprivileged children in the Homestead area. According to City's Code, Chapter 20, Section 20-11, fees and charges. City Council sets fees and has the right to waive park and recreation fees by a majority.
Thank you, Manager. Any discussion from the audience? Any?
I think Pastor is here.
Yes, sir. Push that button, red button.
Red button. Okay, there we go. My name's Russell Black. I'm the pastor of New Thing Fellowship, and I'm part of an association of pastors in the greater Homestead area. Several of the pastors are here with me tonight. And this is going to be an event that we're going to do together with several other churches. And this is an event that was done last year up in the Tropical Park area. We have some handouts for you to explain a little bit more about what we're planning on doing. In essence, we're gathering together about 500 nice brand new toys, and we have connections with different underprivileged children, children of inmates, and we're going to have just a holiday festival with music and prizes and toys to hand out on the 21st of December. That's what we're
Well, thank you, sir. Good luck.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir. Mr. Vice Mayor.
Are you charging for this, or is this free
No,
of
no
charge to
fees.
everybody?
it's all, we're going to be paying for everything ourselves.
Right. And is it
No-
open to the general public, or is it only certain?
100% open to anyone that shows up and
Perfect.
any children.
Thank you.
Any other discussion from council?
Here, I'll
Is-
make a motion to move this forward.
Second. Moved and seconded.
Sorry, I was just trying to get my button going here. I just question, you know, because I know that you said it's open to the public, and I think it's great. My only concern is that when we open this, are we going to, thinking, there was a church, April, we did, years back. It's April, what's the holiday?
For Christmas?
The eggs.
Easter.
Easter, thank you, sorry. I'm sorry, drew a blank. Easter. Easter, we had hundreds of Easter eggs put out in the fields, come on, come all, and it was crazy madhouse. I saw, you know, I think they stopped it because they opened up the floodgates, and I just want to give a heads up to the pastors. And so when we open this up, you know, when you say free and prizes and to the underprivileged family, it's a beautiful thing. It's a great thing. We support it. My only concern is that when you do that you make sure that when you open the gates that you would have enough staff and to man it, and so that we have happy families during those holidays. So just my 2 cents that I want to put in real quick.
Any discussion from you, Mr. Manager, on Mr. Maldonada's question? Control?
Well, we can look at it and make sure that we don't have a problem, police will.
Yeah, I just want to make sure
Sure.
crowd control, you know, whatever it is, because I kind of foresee this when I'm looking back to that Easter egg hunt that they had, and I see little kids get trampled, and
Yeah.
so you know, I'd hate to see something like that happen, and so
Okay,
I'm
I think-
open for it, but
Yeah, totally understand that, and we'll definitely take that into account. I think what we've done, the group has done in the past is they've made contact with the children ahead of time, so it's not necessarily going to be open to whoever shows up as far as handing out the gifts through the different connections, children of inmates and children in the community, underprivileged children. We're going to be making contact ahead of time, so and we're going to have a lot of staff on hand as well, and yeah, and we can also provide pictures and all from events in the past.
Question.
Mr. Williams?
So is it open to the public, or is it open to select persons to receive those toys? Or because what you just said was
Right.
it's open to the public, but then in order to maintain the crowd, it's only selected to those categories in which you listed. So
Right.
which is it?
Well, it's going to be. I guess we have to work some of that out. This is the first time I've worked with him on this. We definitely want it to be without exception of people, but that we would be able to invite the children ahead of time, so that, like you said, that we won't have more children showing up than we have something to give to them, that sort of thing. We're going to be working with different churches in the community to get a list of the children and that sort of thing, but without any exception to who they are and
Through the mayor.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi.
Hi.
So basically it seems like you're kind of targeting students or children to come out to participate in this event. However, if there are some children that show up, you won't turn them around, am I?
No, absolutely not.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't see anything wrong with targeting specific families who you would like to take part in this event. I think that's fine. My question to you is, do you need more assistance with toys for this event? Because perhaps the 500 may not be enough.
Yeah, absolutely. We're not going to turn any down. We wanted to make sure that we had the date set, and then we're going to begin to work on getting all the supplies in at that time. We've done this in the past, or they've done this in the past up in Miami, so this is the first time we brought it to the Homestead area.
How many, when you held this in Miami, how many children participated in the event? Well, thank you for selecting Homestead to serve as the backdrop for this event. And if we can do more to assist you, I personally would like to donate some bicycles as a part of my Christmas campaign to this event to ensure that it is a success.
That would
And
be
I'll be happy
fantastic.
to come out and participate with you all. It's all good.
Yeah,
It's all good.
yeah. Okay, thanks so much.
M- Mr. Mayor?
And we would look forward to working in the next few weeks or so with whoever's interested in.
Vice Mayor.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Just following up on what I questioned and also Councilman Williams asked, and that is, the reason I ask whether it's open to the public or not, or whether you're selecting certain groups of students or kids, et cetera, is that because what's before us today is a waiver of fees for the use of one of our facilities. And so for me, in the past, to try to keep this somehow in the box and understand why we're approving something or not approving something, if it's going to benefit our community, if it's going to benefit our kids, if it's open to the public so anybody from our community can come and enjoy the festivities that you're putting on, I think I don't have a problem waiving the use of the facility, the fee for the facility. On the other hand, if you start picking and choosing organizations to attend, I don't know that you're going to definitely pick Homestead, City of Homestead children, not just postal code City of Homestead children. And so then it starts to be, well, you need to provide me a list of exactly which organizations you're inviting to make sure that the City of Homestead, if we're waiving the fee, is getting a benefit. So that's why I think these questions are coming to you. And so, making sure that you are going to benefit our children and our kids and our community, if that's the case, then I support it.
Yeah, we'll do everything possible to do that. And also, it's not like we're going to invite certain organizations. We want to any children in the community that that would qualify for this. We want to make it available for them. At the same time, not saying, hey, bring all the children you want to get free gifts, because then we could be totally.
Mr. Maytan, you generally have employees there during those hours when the park's being used, correct?
Mayor, once they rent the pavilion, they do an agreement with us and with their proof of insurance. If police is needed, it's their responsibility to have police. A city event is when we're there.
Right. That's what I thought. Okay. Any other discussion from council? We have a motion and a second. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Waldman,
Yes.
Councilman Burgess,
Yes.
Councilman Maldonado,
Yes.
Councilman Williams,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fairclough,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Shelley,
Yes.
Mayor Porter.
Yes.
The motion carries.
Item C is a car 985 waiver of fees for use of Losner Park. Mr. Manager?
Mayor, Chabad of Homestead in Cutler Bay would like to host the annual Hanukkah holiday festivities at Losner Park on December 3rd, 2013. This year, they are planning to have an ice menorah and snow for the lighting of the candles and for children to play in. Chabad is requesting the council authorize the city manager to approve waiver of usage fees in the amount of $200 for the use of Losner Park on December 3rd, 2013. According to City's Code, Chapter 20, Section 20-11, fees and charges, City Council sets fees and has the right to waive parks and recreation fees by a majority vote.
Is there anyone here from the applicant? Any discussion? Yes, ma'am, Ms. Waldman.
Although I won't be able to attend this year on that particular date, this organization has been doing this for many years, and it's a beautiful ceremony. Even though it's based towards the Jewish religion, it's open to all people who have. It's just their ceremony is just beautiful. That's all I can say, and so I support it. It's not something new. It's something that's been going on for years past, and I think we as a council and as a city, we have such a multicultural, different assistancies. So I just want to make sure that we all know that they've been doing this for a long time.
Do we have a motion? I didn't hear it. Who made the motion to approve?
Second.
Okay, it's moved in second. Any other discussion with council? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Williams,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fairclough,
Yes.
Councilwoman Waldman,
Yes.
Councilman Burgess,
Yes.
Councilman Maldonado,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Shelley,
Yes.
Mayor Porter.
Yes.
The motion carried.
Item 5 is CAR 1018, the new Homestead Public Service Bill. Mr. Manager?
Mayor, Councilman Burgess wanted to lead us off?
Sure. I guess it's probably been 6 months or a little more than that even that I went to our utilities director and asked her if we could do something about the way that our utility bill looked, because one of the complaints that I hear over and over is my electric bill was $200, just using the number, but then when you went and broke it down for people, their electric bill might have only been $80. But because of the way that it looked and everything, and people didn't understand or didn't read it thoroughly or whatever, it was hard to take things apart. So I asked Barbara and since Catherine to come up with some ideas, and Ken also, if he's still here, and see if they could meet our goals of improving it. And I think they have. And with that, I'll turn it over to Barbara and Catherine tonight and let them show what we believe to be a much better product for our customers.
Thank you, Councilman Burgess. You all are receiving some packages that show the examples of what the new bill looks like, and we have a very brief presentation. As Councilman Burgess mentioned, we got a team of people together from the different utility services, and we looked at our bill. We're also working with a marketing firm, and we also received feedback on the bill from customers in the area, and so we'll where do I put it? So you see in your package, as well as in the presentation, the look of the current bill, and I believe most of you are familiar with that. As Councilman Burgess mentioned, sometimes people are not always clear on what the services are that they're being billed for. And then you also see the look for the new bill. On the new bill, we have each of the services clearly identified, and we have different colors for them. We also clarified some of the service descriptions so that they're more user-friendly. We're providing some charts to show consumption so that people have an understanding of how they did this month versus the same month last year and the previous months. And there's a little bit more clarity about what is past due, what is currently due, and what the total amount due is. We also believe it's more attractive and has more of a modern look to it. There's a timeline for rolling this out, and what we're looking at is first putting some inserts in the bill advising the citizens that a new bill look will be coming, and that bill insert will be in English, in Spanish, and in Creole for the majority of our population. We'll be training the customer service representatives so that they understand what types of questions might come up around the new bill, and we'll be able to respond to those. We'll also have marketing campaign going on through our PIO, getting information out to the customers about the new bill look, other than just via that bill insert, but through different media channels. And we're planning for the new bills to go out the first part of next year. And then after that, of course, we'll be revisiting any items that might arise after that, any types of questions that could come up after the new bill is rolled out. Also included in your package are copies of those bill inserts, the one that's coming out prior to the new bill, announcing it to the public, and then the bill insert that will be with the new bill and advising our customers, our citizens, what each of the different components on the bill means. And I'd like to thank Councilman Burgess for his assistance with our team. I'd also like to thank the others on council who have mentioned this in the past. This is not a new concern. It's been brought up previously as well, that it's not always clearly understood what people are paying for with their services. And I'd like to thank all the people who are on the team. We had a tremendous amount of support from the different utilities, from Catherine in customer service, from Begonias, our PIO, and from the city manager, as well as the assistant city manager, David Ebert. So we got a lot of great input, and I guess if you all have any questions for us.
Just the one thing that I'd like to add is that they did bring in a focus study group of about 15 customers, and all 15 of them agreed that this was a good product, easy for them to read, easy for them to understand, and so I just wanted to add that because I think that's important that we brought in our customers already, and if the number's not right, I believe it was 15.
Correct.
And 14 of them were unanimous, and I think one, if I understand correctly, had a few questions. So it seems to be that our customers could understand it, and that they were pleased with the product that we were trying to give them. So with that, I'll leave it for other questions.
Any questions from any other council?
Yes.
Mr. Williams.
Yeah, just want to know, I know you have charts for your energy service and water service, but then I see down at the sanitation, the gallons, will there be for the sewer, will there be consumption charted there, or no?
Who will take it?
Well, the sewer and the water use the same number, so so the chart for the water applies for the sewer. The sewer bill is based on water consumption. And solid waste, for example, there's no chart there because it's an even fee throughout every month, so it's always the same.
And I know we've had this over and over, but have you all ever explained what the hurricane fee is? Have we ever had any resolution on where that money is, where it goes? This is the part that it goes silent.
Well, the hurricane fee is basically it's $1 a month that's collected to basically reduce what the city has to pay in terms of when there's an emergency for a hurricane. Right now, that money is allocated for just that purpose, and it cannot be used for anything else. So it's sitting in an account, just waiting for when it's needed.
So how much do we have sitting in that account?
We have about $1.5 million in that account right now.
So this has been from over the years. How many years would you say?
That I think that I'm just going off the top of my head, but that was probably around 4 years ago when that hurricane fee came into effect.
All right, and
maybe you're right. Maybe around 6 years.
And the logo, who came up with the logo?
That was a team effort. We currently have a logo for energy services. Public Works also has a logo. I know our logo is trademarked, and we wanted to change that logo. It was a little dated, and so we wanted something with a little bit more pizzazz. So we're changing. And again, it was a team effort. We
this
had
is-
representatives from different departments
So this is the new logo?
for our Homestead Public Services, yes.
All right.
Mayor?
Ms.
So
Wallman?
all of the,
I'm sorry.
all of the vehicles will have to be changed now?
Yes,
With this new
we would
logo?
be looking at putting the new logos on the sanitation, the water, the sewer, the electric, and customer service vehicles.
How much have you all, is that within this year's budget to do that?
We didn't put it as a line item in the budget.
So how much would it cost to change?
Mr. Williams, we'll have to go out for quotes to get a general idea of how much that's going to cost.
Anything else, Mr. Williams?
No.
Ms. Waldman?
Yeah, I really like this. I know we briefly touched on this when we had the task force that we did way back. The thing that concerns me still, just from the general talk in the community, people just don't realize that in Dade County you're taxed, for your garbage, everything is taxed on your tax bill rather than here. And I think that's just such a miscommunication. I love this, but I just wish we could, now that Ms. Burgess has got us on a roll, I wish we could just expand just a little bit more, because, I mean, I don't know how my colleagues feel, but that's something big. They just don't understand that they're taxed in Dade County, or their services on their tax bill. So we talked about doing that several years ago.
I'm ready. I'll make a
And
motion right now.
at that time I wasn't ready, but the more I hear about it, the more I think it might be something that we might want to just look into later on. I'll go ahead. You go ahead, Jimmy, but I'm just need to follow up.
Are you
Can
finished?
I ask a question
Yes.
to you?
Sure.
Ms. Mayor, you're saying take the garbage and put it on the tax bill?
I think we're dilating here. I love this, but I know Mr. Burgess has things to say, but that's why people think that their power bill is so high.
Okay. So if we put it on their tax bill, let's say I'm a renter. I'm renting an apartment. Then how would that work? Would that then be, I'm just thinking, because
It would depend on how you're paying. If you're responsible for your utility bill already, then it would go on the tax roll, so that the landlord would have to pass that on, and it would be his duties to explain to his tenant. He'd have to do some sort of breakdown and say, look, this is what you're getting, this is what you're paying for, these are and this is what your rent equals out to.
what if you have a duplex?
Same thing.
It's the same thing. Right now, if I could, not to interrupt, but I believe when I spoke about this 3 or 4 years ago, we were close to $400,000, Julio. Would that be a safe number to say? That we lose every year, or not lose, but that we struggle to get because of lack of payment and stuff. And this would be collectible every year, because the city would get paid, the county would be the one that would have to collect.
So the city will get its shares up front. Is that what I'm hearing you say? And then it'll be the burden will be on the county to collect from that. So how would this work operationally on how we do things now?
Taxes are paid in arrears. So am I right, Carlos and the rest of our team over there? Taxes are paid in arrears.
Let's get some, because garbage, the garbage is not a right. You have to pay for garbage. If you own a property, you have to pay for garbage.
Correct, it's an assessment.
You don't get to say, no, I'm not going to pay. Unfortunately, the way we bill it, they have the option not to pay. We still have to absorb the cost. So in essence, don't mean to interrupt, but in essence, we're assuming the responsibility for those that do not pay, and they don't have a right not to pay, because the county it's part of your tax bill, it's part of your responsibility for being here. You have to pay that garbage bill, but unfortunately, we don't do it that way. And really, I agree with, you know, the majority of the discussion is we probably should, because we're losing revenues that we're paying for, because we're having to pay to pick that up, we're having to pay to dispose of that at the county, if I'm not correct.
Then, in that case, then, I'm okay with it. I think, that we, well, how would that work now? I mean, would it be, we would have to do it?
It's about a year-long process,
Yeah.
if I could interrupt. We have to go to the state.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Mr.
No,
Burgess. Can Ms. Burgess answer?
We have to go to the state, file paperwork, and it's about a 10 to 12-month process to get it, to switch things over.
But this is the time to do it,
Correct.
because
Then
this is that interim of time. You have a small window, or if not, it goes into 2 years.
Because it would go, correct.
Even though we can't make the decision tonight, so
No.
could we put it on the next week agenda?
That's, Mr. Manager, can you step in and?
Sure. We'll assemble everybody this week just to make sure we have all the information on paper for you. We'll bring it to the council meeting, and then you can I'm not sure whether that's a resolution or what we need, so we'll have to get you the right mechanism to do it, but we'll rush to get it. Julio, you think we can get it for the council meeting?
And we
Yes,
also need to
he's
check
got
on
the
that
file in his
timing.
drawer.
We need to check on that timing to make sure that we're in that window to
Okay.
where we can.
Correct, that's important, the
That's
timing is
very
important,
important.
because once you pass that first date of submittals, you have to basically wait another year to start again. And I believe that time is, if I remember correctly, that time probably has passed already. I think it's around September or so,
Okay,
when you have to submit for the
Vice Mayor,
paperwork.
Vice Mayor has a question, and John, follow up, please.
And can I finish whenever
I
y'all
thought
get
you,
done?
I didn't know who's in charge around here, because it's just gotten out of control, everybody.
Yeah, I just want to make a comment back on what we're talking about now. The only caveat or the only caution I would counsel my colleagues on is that I was in the audience when this issue came up 4 years ago or so, and it was a very heated exchange, a very heated debate between the community. I mean, the council chambers were tacked at the time, and it was the effect that it had on the property owners' escrow bills. Because what would happen is once we add this on, unless you do it, there are ways I think we can do this and make this work. But ultimately, it's got to be done in such a manner that doesn't have the negative effect on their escrow. Because what happens is they're going to all get notices as soon as we implement this, saying that they're short on their escrow, which is automatically going to raise their mortgage rates. And so it may be a couple $100, it may be, you know, whatever it might be, and you're going to have a room of angry people. And so I think that we need to fully look at this. If we have till next September, I think it'd be smart to do this more cautiously, because the other thing I want to see happen is let's rush this to a council meeting with no warning whatsoever to our public. We pass something, and then ultimately we're dealing with it on the backside. So I would just caution that if we're going this route, that we at least let it go through the process, make sure the public's aware of it. I think it's a great idea. Don't get me wrong, I support this because I think it saves the city a lot of money. I think it makes a lot of sense to put it on our tax bills. But I just want to make sure that we all realize that we need to do this in a way that keeps the public informed and finds the least harmful way of putting this on their tax bills so that it doesn't affect their escrow account the very next year, and we have a whole room of very angry residents. So that's all I just wanted to raise that.
May I make a
Ms. Waldman,
suggestion?
and then Mr. Burgess.
Okay, I'm on?
You're on now. Sorry.
Okay, no, you know, I agree with Mr. Shelley, and I was there. I was the holdout. I was the one that didn't want to do it at that time. But as time has passed, we've had a different scenario here in our city. We were in the building boom, and everything was top of the world, and then we had the crash, and now we're evening out again. So this is nothing new in Dade County. I mean, I had people the other day begging me over in the Northwest to be annexed into our city limits. You know, I'm serious. People want our services. I mean, we are a top-notch city, and I'm very proud of what we do. But this bill has always been a problem, and I think taking that off of the monthly bill will make people realize escrow. I understand very well, and I agree with Mr. Shelley. But you do not, as the mayor said, you do not have an option with garbage. And when we did the task force, that was one of the problems. A lot of the people who live outside the city limits still had our services, and they just didn't understand it. They didn't get it. So, with that being said, you know, I would really like to move forward, at least doing the research, having some focus groups. Be very mindful when we do have those focus groups that people understand we're not raising their taxes, that this is a fee that is that they are responsible for. But I also would like very much, when we do the communication, when we do the PR for this, to make sure people understand that this is a combined, I mean, it needs to be, one of my mentors used to say, you know, it needs to be on first grade level. You know, you need to say it just the way it is. You know, don't expect people, because everybody reads things into their language, I mean, and it's translated differently often. So I just would be very mindful to make sure they understand that we have a combined bill. This is what you're getting. It doesn't mean that your power is $500 or $400. There's many other charges included in this. So if, Mr. Burgess, if you're heading this up, then I would suggest that we move forward, at least finding out. Looks like if that window is passed, then that's even better for us. We don't have to rush on it, and we'd be ready to go to the county if it passes during the summer months. Is that right, Julio, right? Yeah. Okay. All right, so thank you.
Mr. Burgess.
Thank you, sir. First, let me thank all of the staff. I think they did a wonderful job coming up with a new design and meeting what my expectations were of what I was looking for to help our customers, our taxpayers, be able to decipher their bill a little bit easier. So thank you to everybody that helped. The one question that I had, and we talked about it at the last meeting we had in the last approval, was in the comments box. Are we going to be able to tell people that their shut-off is going to be on a certain day because of the past due amount that we highlighted and all that? Were we able to get that where that was going to be able to be put in there to give them a little bit of warning too, other than the other notice that they would receive?
We provided that request to the company that produces the bills, and they, once they get the go-ahead from us, they said they believe they can program that.
Okay. Because I thought that was important too, because it also it gives people another chance to read that they're in the rears and that the bad news is coming soon if they don't take care of their overdue balance. So I thought that was another good idea. So thank you to everybody for their hard work on this project. Thank you, Mayor.
Williams?
I forgot what I was going to say, Mayor.
You're too young for that.
Whatever it was, it's okay.
Did you want to say something, Ms. Patricia?
Oh, no, you know what it was? I'm sorry. Then, if not next week, coming before us, then, George, you all will have the research at least then?
Right, and what I want to do is get clarification. Are we shooting for next week, or did you want us to do take a little more time to map it out? Just need some direction one way or the other.
What?
More time.
No, I was asking for more time so you can do it.
Okay, what we'll do is then, if that's the consensus, we'll put together a whole research item, including timelines and what the law requires and all that. We'll get the lawyers together with the staff and figure out what the best way to do that is. And also, if you have interest in some sort of a public hearing process, we can incorporate that into the time.
Mayor.
Hang on one second. Ms. McCormick, did you have something?
Mr. Acosta, yes, I just wanted to weigh in on this. I think we're moving in the right direction. The design is a fresh and modern look, and I can appreciate that, especially the color coding and the bar graphs, because it allows you to look at trend data and to view your bill from a historical perspective. So as an educator, I give you an A+ for that. However, I think it'll still remain a heated pocketbook issue for our residents, no matter how we break it down and educate them on how their bill came to be. So I was going to suggest that we continue to move forward in trying to alleviate the burden that our residents are experiencing as a result of their bill. And it's important for us to respond to their concerns by doing our due diligence and to see what we can do to potentially remove some of these charges off of their monthly bill and replace it on their taxes. So I thank you for the work that you have done on this bill. It's beautiful. I think our residents will love it, but we still have to continue moving forward to ease the burden, the financial burden that our residents are having because of the amount that they're paying on a monthly basis. Thank you.
Burgess, did you say?
Yes, if I could, please, just, Mr. Manager, as we move forward, the last time that we brought this item forward was when people were getting their from $25,000 to a $50,000 homestead exemption. And one of the things I think that the city failed in was the education to let people know that this wasn't going to be any kind of a raise of their taxes. It was just a way of shifting their responsibility and their bill burden from one over to another. And I think the education process is what we need to, when we get going, if we decide to do this, is going to be the most important thing. And a heads up of 6 or 8 months so people can start thinking about putting $10 to the side. Because in reality, their escrow account is going to be the same. I mean, their monthly mortgage payment is going to be, would equal the same amount of money to be budgeted. It's just going to be allocated to a different account. So I think that as we move forward, I think the education process is going to be as important as anything. So if we could make sure we start to think about that.
I agree with you, and we certainly will incorporate that. One disclaimer, and that would be that, as you all know how campaigns work, they're not going to talk about, the opponents will not talk about the reduction on the electric bill side. They're going to talk about the $100 that you're paying more in
But then
property
we throw
tax,
at them that we have saved, in the end, we have to throw back at them that we have saved the city approximately $400,000 uncollectible dollars. Thank you, Mayor.
Any other discussion? Now, we're voting on the paperwork, no increase, no change in service, no...
And actually, we're not really asking for a vote. As long as there's no objections, then we're going to move forward. But it was such a major change that we thought it was important to bring it to your attention. And if there were questions or objections, we would make the adjustments. But if you're all okay, then we'll go forward.
So you need a motion?
No, just...
Everybody's good? Anybody not good? Everybody's good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the next item is the minutes for the Committee of the Whole, October 8, 2013, moved by Mr. Burgess, seconded by Mr. Maldonado. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item moves. Okay, the next item is CAR 1015. It's the coating for water treatment facility, Tonka filter tanks. Is there a motion? Moved and seconded. Mr. Manager, any report from staff?
Mayor, the filter system at the wastewater treatment plant has been in service since 1998 and is in need of full refurbishment as it has exceeded its useful lifespan. To accomplish this, the filter media and inner pipings will be removed and replaced, filter structures will be sandblasted, and all corrosion will be repaired before receiving a protective paint coating to inhibit any future deterioration. In addition, all of the valves will be removed and replaced. The work being approved under this bid will provide all labor, materials, equipment necessary to strip, prepare, and coat the interior surfaces of the filter tanks. Staff recommends the Mayor and Council authorize City Manager to award bid number 201401, coating system for wastewater treatment plant to Condo Electric Motor Repair Corp. in the amount of $136,872. This project is part of City of Homestead's capital improvement plan. Bid solicitation went to 691 vendors and only one responded. This project is necessary to ensure continued compliance with the regulatory agency's permit requirements, and we'd need a motion to move this on to the consent agenda.
Is there a motion? We did, I'm sorry, pardon me. We did it already. My fault. Any questions, any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. CAR 1019 is the use of the city Homestead trolleys for Speed Fest and Burger Bowl. Is there a motion?
Move it.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion from the audience? Any you don't have to, if you don't want to.
I just had a question, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Mayor?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll address this to Julio. This time frame doesn't take away from any of the general routes that we're doing during the day, right?
No, they're actually after hours, so we're okay.
Perfect. Thank you, Mayor.
Is that it, Ms. Wallman? Any further discussion from council?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Bickle.
Would you like to come up? Come on. Thank you, lady. I know this has been very successful in the past, whereas we use the trolleys to transport residents or attendees in the city to the different events. But my question is, I'm trying to understand the rationale from bringing them from the Speedway to Chrome. If they're at the Speedway to see the races, I'm assuming, why would they want to leave there to come on Chrome? So can you just explain the rationale behind that?
You got to turn the button. Push the red button.
It was red, so I thought it was on. Sorry. One of the things that we're trying to do is to bring the fans from the Homestead Miami Speedway to Losner Park. One, so that they could see the other side of Homestead. So hopefully, while they stay here, or in other days they come back and they can see what we're all about. One of the things that we were afraid of was the logistics of actually transporting those fans to Losner Park. So we are working with the Homestead Miami Speedway. They did work out a route that will not interfere with the traffic. We expect that they will start transporting the fans to Losner around 7 o'clock. That's when the races actually end, and their last trip back would be at 10 o'clock.
And did you want to weigh in on that?
Yeah, important part of this was the Speedway put 1,200 flyers, a reproduction of our poster, into all the packets for the people who are staying at the RV park. So it's not so much the people who will be leaving in their cars going home, it's the people who have actually taken, there's 1,000 RVs planned to be at the races that weekend. And those people have really nothing to do. They're coming back after the race and they're looking for something. And Matt asked us, could you put something together that would give them some place to go after the race? So we're really targeting a specific part of the race fans, and those are the ones who have made the commitment to stay in Homestead for the 3 days and are looking for something to do Saturday night after the race is over with.
That's phenomenal, because that was my next question. How are you marketing this, A? And then B, how can you capitalize on those visitors who are coming into the city? How can we capitalize on that and bring them to this event? But it seems as if you've got it covered. So.
Yeah, that's our target market.
Okay, thank you.
And also the Speedway sent out an e-blast today to their 40,000 fans. So we hope not only to attract the people that will stay in the RV park, but other visitors in the area that may want to drive and park.
I have one more question, sorry. How many restaurants do we have participating thus far?
We have 9 committed to participate. We've got 8 signed up. We're waiting for the 9th to sign up. But we've got.
Do you know those 9 off the top of your head?
Yes, ma'am. Royal Palm Grill, La Playa Grill, Stick and Stein, Chefs on the Run, Gator Grill, and White Lion, and the Whistle Stop Cafe, and Lucky's Pub and Grill.
And will there be other entertainment out
We have,
there besides?
Yeah, it's really exciting. We've got Deck 52 coming, who performed at their February 2nd Centennial event. They're very popular. They're going to be on Losner stage. We have 40 cars coming from the Benefit Car Show group, only Fords, which is a requirement made to us by the Speedway, that if we're going to show cars, they can only be Fords. So we've been out looking for people who have antique Fords only, and we've got 40 signed up. And then we're going to have of course, the competition among the restaurants. We'll be grilling their hamburgers. We're going to have a panel of judges. We'll have Doug Hitchcock there doing a live feed on Thunder Country. And Ford Racing is bringing one of their race cars to be right in the center of Chrome Avenue. And Homestead Speedway I have a ventriloquist here. Homestead Speedway will be bringing one of their race cars, or pace cars, pardon me.
Very
So
good. Sounds like a
I think
great
we've got
event.
it covered.
Look
I think that's
forward.
right.
Happened within the last week. A week ago, we were like, okay, what are we going to do? But from last week on, we've just had calls. The Homestead Miami Speedway, Ford Racing heard about it, and they're coming in with vehicles, so it's taken off. We actually put this together in the last 2 months. It's been kind of slow getting it together, and I think next year when people see the event, we can, make it bigger.
Mayor,
But
Mayor, if I
we're
can
happy
just-
what we have.
If I can just comment on that particular point, which is there's a little clarification for tonight's agenda. Because this came to us so late, we really tried to make it happen. Unfortunately, there's not enough time between now and the council meeting because the event is before that. So rather than asking you to take action, unless you have an objection through the manager's authority, we will allow them to rent the equipment and then take this off the agenda, and we'll just move forward that way. But normally a decision like this would come to you and you'd vote on it, but in light of the time issue, that's our recommendation, assuming there's no objection.
Wait a minute, George. Say that again now. You're trying to pull a fast one. Go ahead, say that again.
Basically, what's happening is this item comes to us. Normally, it goes to the COW, and then it goes to a council meeting because you can't take action at COW meetings. Unfortunately, unless we call a special meeting, the only other way to do this either would be for you to approve it retroactively, so we could leave it on the agenda, or I can just approve it because there's no objection, and I have the authority to do that administratively. So my recommendation is, as long as there's no objection, you're not taking action, that I'll approve it administratively. But if you'd prefer to approve it retroactively at the next meeting or call a special meeting, we could do that as well.
No, I agree with what you just said.
Thank you.
Ms. Wallman?
Yes, I just wanted to say that I remember back when Mary Finland was here, long time, many years ago, that they had an event downtown. Yvonne, you were there. I mean, and it was hugely successful. Yeah, that's what it was, Speed Fest. It was hugely successful. I just heard you say La Playa. Are you gonna have the restaurant out at Bayfront Park included in this?
Yes, actually, all restaurants were invited. The event is open to all restaurants, but we were able to obtain 9. I would have loved to have more restaurants, but we can open it up in the future.
So I think my point is that I just wanted to make sure that you weren't in competition with the racetrack. So I was so happy to hear about the communication that you have between each other, and I commend you for that. Also, pricing. Are the burgers all going to be comparable in pricing, or are we going to have a war on that as well?
I believe we will have a pricing between $5 and $7.
Okay, so
Something
they're all
acceptable.
Gonna be comparable.
Mhm.
Okay.
Councilman Williams, we are paying for the rental of these trolleys. We're not asking for the council to give it to us for free. We're covering the costs of renting the trolleys from the city.
I don't think, did I ask you?
No, I thought you were concerned about whether this is, when I heard you say, were you pulling a fast one, I said, no, we're paying.
No, I'm sorry. For the record, that was just an inside thing between George. We got a great relationship like that.
He was kidding me. He wasn't kidding me.
No, not kidding me. But I must say, since you have taken over the chamber, you have been a breath of fresh air. And been such a delight to work with you. Amen. That's
Well, I really love working with this council and with city staff. You have like a terrific city manager and
Watch it
staff.
now. Watch it.
But really, I like working with you guys. You're just amazing. And one of the reasons we are coming to you so late, we were trying to rent these vehicles, but of course, they're all rented out. And I think we were lucky. Someone told us that the trolleys would be a possibility, and we made a call to Julio, and he worked it, so you have it on your tab. Thank you so much.
Okay, so,
Pardon me, I'm just going to say, I agree also, because it's a joint collaboration between Main Street and the Chamber of Commerce, and we're very, very
Absolutely.
grateful to have that kind of working relationship today.
That's great. That's great. That's very positive.
perfect. So, from council, there's no problem with having the manager, under his discretion, take care of this, correct?
Yeah, he's pulled a fast one before. This will be all right.
Are you gonna let him pull a fast one off?
On this one, yes.
Okay.
So Mayor, then for the clerk's record, then we'll withdraw this item and we'll move forward with it administratively.
Through the mayor, I'm sorry, but I didn't hear the answer to Councilwoman Walman's question, and I kind of wanted to know about pricing.
Based on laws, you really can't tell restaurants how much they can charge for food, but we have asked them to be within a certain guidelines. If we said $3 to $7, but we can't say you have to sell your hamburger at $5 because there's a law against that. So we've given them a range, and it'll be competitive on the street. If the guy's selling $4 hamburgers, the other guy's selling $7 hamburgers, I'm assuming the poor guy is going to sell out fast, as opposed to the $7 hamburger. But we've been told, we can't tell people how much they can sell their food. So we gave them a range.
Good with that?
Okay.
Okay.
That is good.
All right, thank you, ladies. We're going on to the next item. Finance Committee is CAR 1020, council agenda. Fiscal year end 2013 budget amendment. Is there a motion? Second?
Second.
Mr. Manager, staff report?
Mayor, throughout the fiscal year, Police Department within the general fund incurred the expenses for reasons detailed in Exhibit 1 that were not contemplated during the budget process. Appropriations for the Police Department is required to be amended, but the total appropriations to the general fund will not be affected. According to Florida Statute 166.241, Section 4A, appropriation for expenditures within a fund may be decreased or increased by motion recorded in the minutes if the total appropriations of the fund is not changed. Any amendments to prior fiscal year's budget must be done within 60 days after the fiscal year. Staff recommends Mayor and Council approve and amend the appropriations to the Department General Fund fiscal year 2013 budget as per attached Exhibit 1. The total budget for General Fund will not be affected.
Any questions or comments from
Yeah,
council?
the exact amount that you are
125.
29, 25 or 100?
125.
125,000.
And then the you said it's for the police department?
That is correct.
And is it for cars? Is that what I was reading? What is the?
It's primarily to cover drop payouts and overtime.
Oh, drop payouts and overtime. Now, do you provide us with those backup documents for breakdown as relates to how much goes to the drop payouts and then how much goes to?
It's not attached, but I believe it was about $60,000 was drop payouts that usually are not budgeted for. We don't budget for the drop payouts.
Okay, and the other amount?
And then the difference is primarily for the overtime, to cover the overtime.
Okay. And the overtime as relates to what department?
The police department. This is primarily just to cover the police department.
The uniform patrol, detectives, what portion?
I believe that's correct, the operations.
The operation. Okay. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I did submit to you and the manager for an overtime breakout, and I not yet received that. Are you all still gathering all of that information?
Yes, sir.
Because I know that was about I think it was about 4 months ago.
Yes, sir. It's being compiled.
Is it? Okay. So when should I expect?
You remember the email though, right?
Yes, sir.
Oh.
Yes, sir, I do. Yes.
Oh, okay. My biggest issue or concern is now that we're adding more police officers, and it depends on what department, but will we be able to see a decrease in overtime, or how would how are we managing that as it relates to operational?
Okay. Yeah, it should help out. That's one of the problems we've been having over the years because, not only are we down in staff, anytime during the year, anyone can go down in the department, and that kind of it kind of deflate the situation as well because we have to pretty much we have to rob Peter to pay Paul.
Absolutely.
And a lot of times we have to things come up that's out of our control, and before we would lose our city, we have to do to make sure that the city's protected. So because it's called for additional overtime, additional manpower, or whatever it takes to keep us as
whole.
a city and a whole. That's what we do.
Now, Carlos, do we have the figures on what the overtime was last year for the police department?
Yeah, 1.3 million, which is about 7% of the total budget.
So 1.3 million, is that up from the previous fiscal year?
That I don't have, Councilman.
And then we budgeted how much this year for overtime?
Approximately the same, probably a little bit under. That's why we're over on the overtime. So it's probably about 1.2, 1.3.
Because when overtime is done, it also affects the pension amount, and it looks like the pension cost goes up almost $1 million a year with the department. So what I'm trying to say is that hopefully the more officers that we put on the street, will it be, and maybe some of my colleagues will probably want to do an analysis to see if when we come up to those levels, would that decrease overtime if we say we put half of overtime, $700,000, would it be cost effective for us over time to hire 7 new additional officers that will help kind of defray overtime? Is that could you do, George, at some point, could you do?
We can do an analysis, but I have not seen in any city that happens, meaning you take $700,000 in overtime, move it to officers, and then that overtime goes away, because what ends up happening over time is the department, then their workload adjusts to the new staffing level, and then overtime starts wrapping around that. And so if the chief can commit to 7 for 7, that's great, but
right, but what I'm saying is,
I'm with you, George.
Right. Well, I know y'all together, but what I'm saying is,
but the point, I think you're asking for an analysis of how much would your overtime might drop if we add additional officers. We could certainly look at that and come up with an analysis.
Yeah, and to say that because for whatever uniform patrol, however, if those dollars, half of those dollars could be put into manpower to raise the levels up, would that dent some of the overtime? And I understand what you're saying, but if you can bring back to me, if my colleagues would allow the manager to do that, some type of analysis to say if we cut overtime such amount and hire these additional officers, that we're able to at least have some kind of relief in that, because every year overtime is budgeted about $1 million every year for the police department. Am I right? So if every year we're budgeting that amount and we use that amount, is there a point to where we can hire additional officers to hopefully curtail that amount that's overtime, pass that cost off, and raise the number of officers here in Homestead, is what I'm saying.
We certainly can do an analysis for you, and I'd say my layman's basic understanding of the way police departments operate is, let's assume we go with the number of national standard, we need 20 or 30 more officers. You factor those costs in, and then the department adjusts to their service level according to those new numbers. And then what happens over time, and it sometimes doesn't happen the first year, is we've now set a new benchmark of what the standard is, and then the overtime is typically will increase because now you've got 30 more officers, and now you're covering when they're out or when there's additional things that they need. So, but we certainly can do the analysis because I think it's important for them to at least answer your question of, okay, what would happen if we took some of our money from the overtime and added additional staff? Would that a possibility, and how many officers would that generate, and would their overtime needs then be met? And I don't have the answer for you tonight, but I think they can get you that. Chief?
Good evening. Councilman Williams, when we submitted for the 6 officers that you have coming to you as a budget part of the grant, we also included a $95,000 reduction in overtime.
You say that again?
When we submitted for the 6 additional officers, one of which has already been approved full-time, and the next group is coming up very shortly. That was the grant that we applied for and unfortunately did not get. Included in those numbers was a reduction of about $95,000 in estimated overtime. You'll never eliminate overtime.
No, I'm not trying to eliminate it. What I'm trying to do is just what you just said. Adding new officers that decrease some portion of the overtime.
It does offset your cost of... It does offset your cost somewhat, but to give you an idea, on roughly $600,000 it costs to bring 6 more officers on, we included an estimated best guess reduction in overtime of shortage overtime of about $95,000. Now you have to adjust that for the fact that they're going to go to court, and one of the things that's been happening is court costs and time has been ramping up again and again and again, and that's something we really can't control. We have taken steps to reduce that, and you're seeing the results of it, that the overtime's not far higher than it is now, but you got to remember we're 35 miles away from court, so anything that happens, we go downtown.
No, I definitely understand. I'm just
there is an
just
offset.
just food for thought. There is an offset. And if that's a savings of an offset, then could that be used to perhaps put more police officers on? That's all I'm saying. And then if you take a 10-year period of time, and we budgeted $1.5 million each year or lower in overtime, that's $10 million, so to speak, for lack of a better term, maybe $15 million. And so if the cost of that is, and if we can somehow dent the overtime to appropriate that to me manpower on the field, that's all I'm trying to gather.
My best guess at this time with our staffing and adding in small increments like the 6 is you're looking at a 10 to 15% reduction in overtime.
Okay.
And that's best guess. It's very hard to predict.
Right. So from my perspective, as I think that formula through, which was my point, was that I have to spend $600,000 in order to save, in this particular case, $95,000. So it becomes an issue of, as you're going budgeting year to year, which problem is worse, the $95,000 savings or the $600,000? So I think the analysis would be good, so you can incorporate that in your budget discussions next year. But it is, unfortunately, not a simple problem to solve.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Next item is car 1011. Theater South Atlanta, production I Have a Dream. Is there a motion?
I move it.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Report from staff.
Mayor, on October 16, 2013, Mr. Jones came to the council meeting to request funding and a location to host Theater South Atlanta, Inc.'s production of the I Have a Dream musical. Staff reviewed the request and has identified key items. 1, TSA is requesting $7,500 to be paid next day upon council approval and $2,500 to be paid on or before January 17, 2014. They're requesting use of the center to hold auditions, Michael Williams Center, and auditions and rehearsals. Schedule is to be provided, and they will provide full set and seating required for the show. Staff requests mayor and council give staff direction on the proposed funding request of $10,000. And about it.
Any discussion from council?
Yes, thank you so much. Prior to you, Mr. Mayor, taking the August task of being mayor, this came before us as one of my agenda items, and at the bequest of the Martin Luther King breakfast that we host every year, we wanted to do something in addition that will continue to perpetuate and commemorate Martin Luther King, and this time we wanted to do something more of a theater styles for the residents of Homestead to come and partake. You know, I think the council, prior to your arrival, went back and asked for more information, timelines, numbers, and so I think this is where we are today in our packet, in what the council, some of my colleagues, has asked for as relates to the Theater South group. And so I've had time to talk to Mr. Jones about it and have more dialogue. And also Florida City has also committed some dollars, amounts to help defray the cost. Then it is at the intentions of the group that whatever they sell on ticket prices, that goes back into the coffers of the city of Homestead. Am I right? So this is an initial investment into the group, and then all ticket sales go back to the city for its coffers to help defray the cost of what we have done. But it's an investment into the community. It's something that is needed. It's a newer idea. I'm 100% behind it, and I like to see it in motion and part of that great festive weekend for Martin Luther King. So I end with that.
Yeah, that's it, Mr. Williams. Any other discussion?
No.
Vice Mayor and Ms. Waldman.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm glad to see that, you know, you took some of our suggestions that we had at the last meeting when we spoke with you and did put that in here as far as, you know, the additional performances and using, you know, the local community to get them involved. So I do appreciate that. You know, one of the things I like about this, though, is the fact that the way it's structured is that if there's going to be charges for tickets, and who's going to determine that? That's one of the questions I do have. Are we determining the ticket price? Is the company determining the ticket price?
Vice Mayor, we're going to have to, once you approve this, we would have to get with the attorneys, and we'd have to do a contract with Mr. Jones and Theater South, and then we will put that in the contract once we agree on that. Okay. So we would have to work that out with them to find out what the prices will be once we do the contract.
And the intent would be to have that for the council meeting because they need to start making decisions and moving forward. And also, if you have a preference on any of these policy issues, it'd be helpful to get some direction from you tonight so that we can incorporate that into the contract.
Okay. And the thing, I guess, is I'm willing to give this a try. I'm willing to try this model and see, because the way I look at this is that if we do the initial investment, but ultimately we recoup the majority of our expenses that we put out, you know, we provided a service to our community. At the same time, we've come up, you know, somewhat close to revenue neutral, preferably revenue neutral. It'd be great to actually break even or make some money, maybe. But, you know, so in that respect, I think that I'm willing to try this model and give it a shot, and hopefully it works. If it does, I think it's going to be a successful thing going forward. If it doesn't, you know, then I'll reevaluate it, you know, on a year-to-year basis and check it out next year. But I'm excited about the product that you're proposing, and again, the fact that we're going to hopefully make those monies back. You know, it's good for me. So thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Waldman.
No, I'm very excited to see theater come to the Southwest, and you know, I know you've been working with Parks and Recs, and just wanted to ask a question because I forgot to ask before. Do you have your insurance, or do they need insurance, or?
Yes, we got $2 million liability insurance with your name on it.
Perfect. Well, we look forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Good to see you again.
Yeah, hey.
I had the opportunity to sit down with Mr. Jones, and we looked at the first contract line by line.
Line by line.
Line by line. word by
Yes, we
word.
did. Yes, she
You'll
corrected
see.
my grammar often.
Absolutely. This proposal presents a stark contrast to what you originally proposed, and I thank you for those concessions
Yes.
with this contract. And I still did a little digging.
Yes.
And I like the fact that you have aligned yourself with credible people from the community, because I read your resume and it was very colorful and it was phenomenal, but I still had some credibility issues. So I like the fact that you're aligned with FIU.
Yes.
You've partnered with FIU. You've partnered with the Miami-Dade County Department of Cultural Affairs.
Yes.
And you'll have about 16 shows at the South Dade not government center, but
South
Cultural
Miami-Dade
Arts
Covered.
Center. Yes, the Cultural Arts Center. You're also working with the Bethel Church
That is correct.
as far as bringing in the dance team, and I have experience with the Bethel Church because I took dance classes at the Bethel Church. So this isn't some fly-by-night production that he's bringing to the community, because based on my research, you have aligned yourself with some marquee players. So I am going to support this agenda item for that, and more importantly, because anytime you infuse art, entertainment, and culture into the community, I think that's a great thing, and it helps with the quality of life. So we'll see how it goes this year, and we're praying that it is a success, so that moving forward, this can be a tradition in the community when it comes to the celebration of Martin Luther King. So I look forward to this.
Thank you.
Okay, so it's properly moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next item is car 988, purchase of new vehicles for additional officers and other mobile equipment from the CIP plan.
I move it, Mayor.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Mr. Manager?
Mayor, staff recommends mayor and council approve the attached resolution authorizing city manager to purchase 6 2014 model year Dodge Charger patrol vehicles for the police department from Maroney Dodge Auto Nation of Pembroke Pines, 1 lawnmower and trailer CIP 0478 for code compliance, and 1 Gator truck CIP 0425 for general services procurement. The last Dodge Chargers ordered in August were 2014 models under 2013 pricing. These Dodge Chargers are the same 2014 model and configuration, but due to being ordered under the 2014 Florida Sheriff's Association contract, which took effect on 10/1/13, there was a small price increase of $421 per vehicle. Total annual lease payment for these vehicles and trailers will be $47,908, which will be financed for 5 years under the SunTrust Master Lease Purchase Agreement as per the city's normal practice. The annual payment for fiscal year 2014 will be $35,931, with the quarterly payments to SunTrust starting in March 2014. Dodge Chargers will be funded from impact fees, and the remaining equipment is funded from the general fund.
Any discussion from council?
Yes, what is I think I read in here, the interest rate is about 1 point some percent. Is that right? What is the interest rate that we
Yeah, it's at the bottom of the memorandum. It's 1.7225%.
Okay. And that's over a 5-year period?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then exactly how many new chargers? Again, 6 new?
6 chargers, yes, sir.
6. And then I heard something say about code enforcement officer.
Code enforcement, yes. It's a lawnmower and a trailer, and then also a Gator truck.
I'm a little ignorant when it comes. What's a Gator truck?
It's
Mr. Williams, it's a small truck. I would put the equivalent to like, yeah, an ATV, 4-wheel drive ATV. It's going to be used for the procurement yard for transporting equipment back and forth. Currently, we're using an electric golf cart, which is really not safe.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you.
Any further discussion?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, for clarification purposes, for the purchase of these vehicles, I understand that the local vendor preference is not applicable. because there is no local vendor. However, because Spitzer Dodge is not within city limits. But to me, figuratively speaking, they're across the street. So, my question is, have this vendor been selected because Spitzer Dodge does not have the capacity to deliver these vehicles fully equipped, ready to go, fully installed?
We didn't actually select the vendor.
I'm sorry?
The contract we're buying off of is the Florida Sheriff's Association.
Okay.
We bought off of this contract for, actually, the other contract in Florida is the state of Florida contract, which is not as good a contract on pricing. Any dealer in Florida may apply and compete on the Florida Sheriff's, but they have to meet certain volume requirements. And what happens is the manufacturer gives very huge discounts to the dealer that is selected under Florida Sheriff's or certain contracts, or according to how they purchase. And as a result, the local dealers usually can't even touch the pricing. We have talked to this dealer in the past, but you're talking a discrepancy price of $9,000 to $10,000 per car. We buy the base Dodge Charger, I think it's about $21,000, $22,000, and for you to walk in on the lot and buy that same car, it's about 30 something. And that's usually why the problem is. There are only certain dealers allowed by the manufacturer to get these discounts. Same thing occurs on Ford.
I know I had this conversation with Chief Rule. I asked him a couple of meetings ago. So we're getting a better bang for our buck going with this company. I'm asking for the community's sake.
Going under the Florida Sheriff's, yeah, you're getting about a $15,000 discount per car.
Okay.
And considering the car costs you about $34,000 or $35,000, it's not a bad deal. And what we do is the add-on stuff is the dealer coordinates building the car completely through a vendor that we approve. That way, when it comes to us, it's fully built, because our fleet staffing here, we used to have it built here many, many years ago, but they're not equipped to handle this volume of cars with the mechanics they have. So it works out more economical to have the dealer fully build it. The graphics guy goes to that location, puts everything on it. When it comes to us, we tune the radio and the keys to the officer, and it's ready to go. Just so you know, we received 12 about a week and a half ago. We received another 4 last week, received another 6 today. And those 6 that we received today will be ready to go probably by the end of this week or first of next week, and out the door to the officer. Very efficient means of doing it.
Anything else?
Yeah, just a follow-up to Councilwoman question. I was under the impression that the local company or Spitzer and Dodge could have met the price at that's what's listed here. From my understanding that because of an opportunity, but my understanding is that they could have met you and did all the build out here at Spitzer Dodge. That was what I was told.
When I spoke to him, probably going to be about 10 months ago on it, they had no opportunity of coming anywhere close. And you can't, under our city purchasing rules, go direct to them and buy this volume of cars. We'd have to go out to bid. And normally that doesn't turn out very well. But unless they got some huge change in their operations, I don't see the manufacturer offering the discounts that I know they passed down the pipeline. I've talked to the regional reps with Dodge. I've talked to quite a few of the vendors, and most of the vendors can't touch it because they just don't get those discounts. And they're substantial discounts. Now, if something happened in the last few days, I don't know of it, but in the conversations I've had with them since they reopened, they could never come close. And neither is any other manufacturer. We have the same issue with Ford and some of the others, not on patrol cars. And on the Chevys, they could never come anywhere close to the Chevys. They could only come close to the price if they took out a bunch of stuff. And these are custom manufactured cars. They're actually not the same ones you can buy off the lot. There's a certain build order.
No, I understand. I'm very familiar with that.
But normally the dealers can't even come anywhere close. So I'm not sure who's saying that. You know, I mean, I've talked to them several times since they reopened. There's no way they were able to come close. And they are not on the Sheriff's Association contract, nor on the state. I checked both of them.
If I could jump in, Mr. Williams, in the past, we have gone out to the vendors like Scott referenced, and repeatedly, they've never been able to match it.
Okay. Anything further? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Next item is car 1013, tree trimming, electrical line clearing services. Is there a motion? Seconded. Mr. Manager?
Mayor, in response to invitation to bid number 201308 for tree trimming and line clearing services, 8 bids were received. Asp1's bid of $156,220 was determined to be the most responsive bid. Lewis Tree Service, Inc. did submit a bid for $146,880, but took exceptions to some of the bid language and requested changes. Legal counsel reviewed their request and recommended against acceptance of Lewis's proposed changes. Asp1's currently is performing this work for the electric utility department, and they have provided good quality service. The bid is for 1 year with a provision for 2 one-year extensions if mutually agreed upon by both parties. Staff recommends the mayor and council authorize city manager to approve and accept the bid by Asplund Tree Expert Company for tree trimming and line clearing services in accordance with bid document 201308. Barbara, did you want to comment a little bit on the lowest bid and what the issues were?
Certainly. The lowest bid asked that we include some additional language. The additional language has to do with liability, where they were saying that they should not be liable for any special, indirect, or consequential damages resulting in any way from the performance of the services. And they were also looking for a fuel escalation clause where the equipment hourly rates they provided us were based on $3.45 per gallon of fuel, that they would be escalating the price depending on what the price of fuel was. And legal advised us that these changes, these exceptions to the terms and conditions were such that we should not accept this.
Any questions?
I'm sorry. So what you're presenting then to us is that we go with this vendor or we don't go with it?
The lowest bid we did not want to go with because of the exceptions they were requesting to the terms and conditions of the contract.
Mm-hmm.
And we were advised by our legal counsel not to go with the lowest bid, but to go with the next lowest bid.
And you was advised because they, in their proposal, they were trying to add other things beyond what they had initially said they would do the work for?
Yes, they were adding a fuel escalation clause, and they were adding a limitation of liability that wasn't acceptable to the city.
Okay. And this company cuts throughout all over Homestead. Is there any geographical areas that they start with, or is it just on the...
The line clearing, the tree trimming for the power lines is done on a schedule for our main trunk lines.
Mm-hmm.
And then also spot trimming is done. If we get a request in, we go out and take a look and we see that there are some problems. We'll go out and address some areas out of the schedule.
Okay, all right.
Anything else? This company is a national company. They do this all over. Actually, I can't even say it, but they're a huge company. So, any further discussion? All in favor?
Wait.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You know what?
Miss-
I have to get used to this end because I
You
get
can't-
ignored
I can't
down
see-
here.
I can't see.
I didn't know how I feel when I was down there.
I can't see anybody. That's the problem.
You just sit back or something.
Yeah.
We need a little red light that sticks up here because I can't see anybody.
I am not getting used to this.
Excuse me,
Okay, I'm
I
just
apologize.
Ms. Kionis. Can we just make sure that the trees are trimmed so that us on the east side can enjoy our Christmas lights? Because a great portion of last year, I was going back and forth with you, we couldn't see anything east of 147th Avenue. So let's just make sure this year we can enjoy the beauty and the festive lights on Campbell Drive.
Councilwoman Dennis Maytan spearheaded a meeting earlier, when was it? Last week, seems like this week, talking about Christmas decorations, and that was one of the items that we covered. And Dennis actually is having that work, through Valley Crest be done for us, because our contractors trim around the electrical lines, and that trimming was in addition to. It wasn't trimming for electrical lines. It was trimming so that the decorations could be seen. But Dennis has ensured that that will be happening, because we know it was an issue last year.
So if I have questions, I don't email you. I email Dennis and CC the city manager, right? Okay. Thank you.
Did I miss anybody? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item, Vice Mayor Shelley, you had a update on something?
Yeah, I just wanted to take the opportunity real quick here at the end of the meeting to update everybody on what's going on with the trolley to Everglades and Biscayne National Park. As you know, earlier this spring, we designated ourselves the gateway to Biscayne and Everglades National Park, and during the summertime, we agreed to implement a trolley system on the weekends during the high season to go to and from Everglades from our downtown. We've been meeting probably once a week for the last 2 or 3 months now on the project, as far as putting together the logistics of the actual trolley route and some of the marketing materials. And so I want to just give everyone an update and let you guys know that January 4th is the scheduled ribbon cutting and the grand opening of the trolley, which will run from this January through April. And we have a soft opening going on December 7th, where we have an event at both Biscayne on I think on the 8th, Everglades on the 7th, so it'll kind of be a test run to see how all this stuff works out. But the grand opening will actually occur on January 4th, and it'll run every weekend thereafter. And I think the clerk handed out some information here that shows you the marketing materials, which will go to print this week, and then you'll start seeing this stuff hit the street. We'll really start making a push on it and getting the word out there on the street that this trolley is going forward, and also at the same time promoting the city of Homestead in the park. So just want to give you a quick update. I'll try to come back with a more in-depth update, maybe in the next council meeting or the one after that.
Any
Thank you.
final comments from council?
Yeah, question, Mayor. Just so that I have a time frame of your appointments, I currently liaison of one board. When are you going to take suggestions and names for board appointments, especially for Southwest Advisory Board? I need to make some additions and some subtractions.
Go ahead and make those to the manager now.
The manager? No, they come.
Make those to the manager, because I'm going to sit with the manager and.
For board appointments, do you know what I'm talking about?
But I wanted to go through. I wanted to give every council member an opportunity to be in the best. You're talking about the advisory board for the Southwest. That's just you're gonna have the Southwest Advisory Board, correct?
Thank you. Hopefully. But what I'm saying is I'm operating with members that not so much operating, but I'm less 2 members, and I need appointments to add 2 members on there. And Charlie says the mayor makes those appointments subject to council approval.
Subject to approval.
I don't know why you're sending me to the manager.
I wanted to confer with the manager and with the attorney to make sure that I did everything correctly. And so if you would just work with me a little bit in the fact that I just got here, and it's been very, very difficult.
Asking you, but I just didn't understand the logical reason of the manager doing that has
The manager, I'm referring to the manager as an assistant to help me navigate all of the appointments that are needing to be done, i.e. Planning and Zoning Board, i.e.
I ain't got nothing concerned. I'm talking about Southwest Advisory Board. Because we're planning the Martin King breakfast. That is coming up in January.
already made.
Okay, after race weekend, I'll give you the position, because I have not had the chance to deal with it all.
I'm just talking about my board, I'm not talking about.
Okay, but I have to do all of the boards.
Right, but in the essence of time, because of the planning.
What are you suggesting that you need me to do for you?
I need to make two, I need to make people on, persons on the board on.
Okay, send it to the clerk tomorrow and have her forward it to me.
There, now we talking.
And I ask for just a little patience from everyone.
That's fine. That one needs to be kind of, I need
Anything
that
else?
in order to
Anything
continue
else?
my work on the board.
Anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Meeting adjourned.